Let's start with a common sight. A student brimming with energy, yet unable to focus or retain what they study. Dr. Patel, is this really about intelligence, or is something deeper at play?
Great question. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that attention spans in children have decreased by nearly 30% over the past 2 decades. It's not a lack of intelligence, but rather a gap in teaching focus and self-regulation.
That's fascinating. So, while schools emphasize content, they often overlook the mechanics of learning itself, like how to concentrate, manage stress, or filter distractions. Would you say this is the missing link in modern education?
Absolutely. Imagine expecting someone to run a marathon without teaching them how to breathe or pace themselves. We're asking students to compete academically without ever showing them how to harness their mental resources effectively.
That analogy really puts things into perspective. It seems the real struggle is silent, hidden behind outward behaviors we often misinterpret as laziness or lack of motivation.
Exactly. And that's why interventions like the CSS Sixth Sense workshop become so vital. They address these silent struggles by equipping students with tools to maximize their innate potential.
Let's transition to solutions. The CSS Sixth Sense workshop claims to be more than tutoring a brain-body behavior transformation. What sets it apart from conventional coaching programs?
Unlike typical programs that focus solely on rote learning, this workshop integrates cognitive exercises, mindfulness, and behavioral training. For example, students practice focused attention drills similar to those used by NASA astronauts to enhance concentration under pressure.
That's impressive. So, it's not just about working harder, but about working smarter, rewiring the brain for optimal performance. Could you share more on how memory and attention are actually strengthened in these sessions?
Sure. Techniques like spaced repetition and visualization are key. One study showed students using visualization improved recall by 40%. The workshop also employs focus sprints, short, intensive periods of concentration that train the mind like a muscle.
I love that idea, treating focus like a muscle you can train. It's a tangible approach that demystifies the process for both students and parents.
Exactly, and by combining brain training with behavioral strategies, students develop discipline, emotional regulation, and a growth mindset. This holistic approach leads to lasting change, not just short-term gains.
Building on that, let's talk about outcomes. What actually happens when students master these foundational skills: focus, attention, emotional balance?
We see a profound shift. Students who once struggled with distractions begin to exhibit what we call the tanks effect, exponential improvement in both academic and personal arenas. For instance, a 2022 pilot saw average test scores jump by 25% after just 8 weeks.
That's more than just better grades, it's a cultural shift in the classroom. Teachers report fewer disruptions, and the overall learning atmosphere becomes more purposeful. Would you say this creates a ripple beyond individual students?
Absolutely. As one student's engagement increases, peers tend to mirror that behavior. This domino effect can transform a noisy, distracted environment into a space of focused collaboration. It's a win-win for everyone involved.
Can you imagine if entire schools implemented this approach? The collective impact on academic culture could be enormous.
Precisely. When students unlock their full capacity, it's not just their grades that improve their motivation, relationships, and attitude shift as well. It sets the stage for lifelong growth.
Let's broaden the lens. Academic excellence is crucial, but modern life demands more. How does the workshop foster qualities like emotional balance, confidence, and self-discipline?
The curriculum includes modules on emotional intelligence, time management, and self-reflection. For example, students learn to identify emotional triggers and respond rather than react, a vital skill linked to 60% higher workplace success, according to Harvard research.
That's eye-opening. It sounds like these skills aren't just for exams, but for real-world problem-solving and leadership. Could you share a scenario illustrating this transformation?
Certainly. Take a student who once crumbled under exam pressure. After completing the workshop, she reported using breathing techniques to stay calm, which not only improved her scores, but gave her the confidence to lead a school project.
It's inspiring to see how these soft skills translate into tangible achievements. So, the workshop is essentially preparing students to be adaptable, resilient, and innovative qualities indispensable in today's fast-changing world.
Exactly. When self-belief is cultivated alongside academic skills, students don't just succeed in school, they're prepared to thrive as future leaders, creators, and problem solvers.
As we wrap up, let's address our listeners directly. For students feeling stuck, or parents worried about their child's focus, what's your message?
I'd urge them to recognize that the answer isn't more pressure or endless tuition. Instead, it's about activating the skills and talents already within each student. When nurtured properly, these become lifelong assets.
That's such a hopeful perspective. So, by investing in workshops like CSS 6 Sense, families aren't just chasing higher marks, they're equipping children with tools for life. Could you explain how these changes persist?
Absolutely. The workshop instills habits that, with regular practice, become second nature. Neuroplasticity studies confirm that consistent training rewires the brain, making focus, resilience, and self-discipline enduring traits.
So, in essence, this is about empowering students to become their best selves academically and beyond. It's an invitation to unlock the potential that's been waiting all along.
Exactly right. And with the right guidance, every student can discover that their greatest strengths were inside them from the start, just waiting to be activated.